Okay, so we are now streaming this live event. We tried this before, but had some technical difficulties. I'm pretty sure nobody is still on the line, so this will be sort of a test of the system, and we'll make sure to debug this in the future. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to go to the Worldwide Telescope website. So, and what we're doing here is we will go to open up a browser on. This works on all web operating systems, but on we actually suggest Chrome on most of them. On Windows, it does work pretty well with Edge and Internet Explorer, but and Firefox works, but it's somewhat lower performance. But Chrome is the fastest of them, so we'd suggest that. So if we go to worldwidetelescope.org, it takes you to the website. There's an interact button. Under that, learn by the way is where you learn documentation. There's if you go to authoring, there's a new document on web-based authoring. This actually goes through everything I'm going to show you here, but you can try that yourself. But what we're going to try here now live is taking this under interact, selecting preview web GL web client. So this will take us to a web page that actually has the embedded Worldwide Telescope web client application taking over the web page. So the major parts that we'll be talking about, this top panel has a list of collections at this point. This will also be where our tour is created. This panel on the left-hand side is called a layer manager. This is where I can turn on and off different overlay layers like constellations and boundaries. I can also turn on different grids. I can put on ecliptic grids or other types of grids. But for now, I'll leave this. So first, I'll try and make a tour, and so for that, I will take under guided tours, click create new tour. That brings me to a slide that actually asks me to give a name. So I'm going to call this new tour as a default. I'm going to say new web GL tour. I can give it a description. I can give my name, my email, which will be embedded in the tour so people can contact me later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to zoom in on everything in the lower hand panel or things that are in the field of view. So I'm going, and if it has a little picture icon in the upper right, that means it's not just a named object. It actually is a specific object that has an image taken with another telescope. If I double click on this, it will move the camera to that point. It moved it moved a little bit and then zooms in on the object. So so here I can learn more about the object. This is M74, and I can do information. I can search on Wikipedia or ADS, which is an astrophysical data service. It's where professional astronomers go to as a front door to published articles and scholarly journal articles on astrophysics research. But for right now, and you can see I can crossfade between the two. This high resolution and low resolution image of the galaxy. So I'm going to zoom in on this, and I'm going to make. What I want to do is I want to zoom in on this as the kind of slide position. But I'm going to pull back. So right now I'm going to say this is where I want to go to at the end of the first slide, but I'll start zoomed way out, which is kind of the kind of human eye view of things, and I'll click add new slide. When I do that, it's going to take the view that I had before as the first slide position. Now when I want to zoom in to set the end slide position, I can do that, and this galaxy is already there. So I zoom in on this slide, it's there, and I say set in camera position. One of the things you can see is it has a 0 on top. That was controlling that labeling is under guided tours. It says show slide numbers, and by default it's off the first time you start it, but I usually turn it on. So it was in that on state when I started this demo. The default time is 10 seconds. I can either go in here and edit it. I can say I want it to be 7 seconds. or I can use the up and down arrow buttons to make it shorter or longer. So now I have a one slide tour, um, and let's say I want to do a couple things. For this purpose of this demo, I'm going to do a couple things. I want to add a narration slide, and I want to have some titles. So I want a narration slide that will be on the entire time. So I will add some music to this slide, and so I have a nice musical track. The music has to be in MP3 format. So, and if you go to the Worldwide Telescope page, and I'll kind of just show you that page again. So worldwidetelescope.org, and if you go to uh, at the bottom of the page, tour assets, there's musical tracks that have been donated to Worldwide Telescope, and you can click on them, download them, and use them freely in your tours. So going back to the tour, this now I have a soundtrack like that. Now what I want to do is music will be something I want to embed throughout an entire tour. So I want this to be something that continues on through multiple slides. So the way you do that is you make a slide a master slide. So I'm going to go to right click on the slide itself and say master slide. And so this will put an M in the upper left hand corner. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to say show in camera position. Now the zoomed in position. I'm going to click on add new slide. This will create a new slide with this as the beginning camera position. Now I'm going to zoom in even further. And actually I'm going to move the position around a little bit. So I'm going to move it. And then I say set in camera position. Now when I push play, now I'm going to push play here, and actually I'm going to change this time down to shorter time as well. I'll say 4 seconds. So 6 seconds in the first slide, 4 seconds in the second. So I'm going to push play, and you probably will hear a hopefully this musical soundtrack. And so it's zooming in on this galaxy for the first 6 seconds. In the next 4 seconds, it's taking this little pan. At the end of the whole slide tour, it actually stops playing the music and leaves me here. So let's say that I want to create a new slide here, and I want to keep on going as far as the locations that I'm talking about. So it looks like I may have had another. Okay. So I move it over here. Now I want to make that the in-camera position. So now I have three slides. Now I want to, let's say in this slide, once I get to this position, I want to say something interesting about the slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a program called Audacity. It's a free, it's my favorite audio editing program. So this is going to bring this program called Audacity up, and I'll be recording some soundtracks. So I'm going to say I'm going to make a slide narration that says this is M74. That's the words I'm going to say on. I'm going to attach to slide 1. So I brought up Audacity. I'm going to click the record button. I'm going to say this is slide. This is actually I'm going to stop this. I kind of flubbed it. Get rid of it. Okay. This is Galaxy M74. Okay, so now I have this nice audio track. I'm going to export this audio. I'll save it to downloads where I have my other things, and I'll call this M74.mp3. Okay. Now on this slide, I can click over to VoiceOver. I click on that browse button. It'll go here, and this MP3 that I just created is now M74.mp3. So now when I play the tour, it's going to because this is a master slide, it will take the music that I have as a master slide, which will persist through all 3 slides. I'm actually make this a little shorter, and then I'm actually going to make another narration, and I'm just going to call this narration. Actually, I'm going to say a few seconds. I'm going to say we are now exploring this galaxy. Okay, so I have a few seconds of that. Again, I export it, export audio. I'm going to call this Explore Galaxy as the .mp3. Now for this slide, on the third slide, I'm going to say browse for a voiceover, and I'm going to say Explore Galaxy .mp3. So now I have, again, a musical track that goes over all three slides. I have one audio track for the second slide, and another audio track for the third slide. So I have three tracks that will all be either put end to end or mixed together. Again, the slides, if they aren't master slides, the audio on the slides only exists on the slide, and then it's added to whatever is on a master slide before it. So now when I push the play on the tour, you should hear the music going across it. This is Galaxy M74. We are now exploring this galaxy. And so now I have, again, I've made a short tour that has, that goes to three locations somewhat smoothly. And now I have a audio track on top of it that has both music and some explanatory text. Now let's say I want to, for making this, and I want people who are perhaps hearing impaired to be able to see the words that I'm also speaking to make sure that they also get whatever I'm trying to communicate. So if I want to do that, I double click on here, and I can actually add some text as text. And so here I'm going to add the text M74 Galaxy. I'll make this text a little bit bigger. Change the color to be, let's say, yellow. Say save. So now when I play the tour, this text will come up for that slide. Let's say I want to add some text for this slide. I'm going to add some text, and I'll say explore exploring the galaxy. Again, I'll make the text color. This time, let's say I'll keep it yellow. Again, make it a little bit bigger, 28 font, let's say. Okay. So now when I push play, oh, I think I actually added that to the master slide. Yep. So because I accidentally added this to the master slide, let's just kind of see what happens. Because it's an overlay that's on a master slide, it will persist through all the other slides. So you'll see when it goes on to the next slide. This is Galaxy M text, so that's not what I wanted. So this is giving me an example of something else. So I can right-click on this and say Cut, and that removes that text overlay object from the master slide, which is not where I wanted it. And I'll go to where I wanted to put it, which is on the Exploring slide, and I'll right-click and say Paste. And now that text is there. Now when I push play, it is zooming in, hearing music and the narration. This is Galaxy M74. We are now exploring this galaxy. So I made my first kind of 3-slide tour. I have overlays, I have master slides, I have audio and both the narration and music. And so now I'm ready to save it, to publish it. So it's as simple as hitting save over here. Because it's all in a web browser, it's actually sending this tour to your downloads directory or wherever you're specified for your web browser where we don't download files. It'll put it there. Now I can quit completely Worldwide Telescope. I can quit Worldwide Telescope, the web client, and now I can, let's say, restart Google. Bring this over here. Now let's say so I'm kind of pretending I did this from scratch. So I could have emailed this tour to somebody else, but I can go to Interact, Preview again, and now I can upload this. I can open this tour from my local file. So I go here, I see new WebGL tour. I say open. It loads it into the client, and will once it's loaded, it will play it in a moment. Let's try it one more time. So it's still playing, or trying to open it. One more time. Yeah, it looks like it's not getting the. I'm gonna try to open it in Edge, a totally different browser. This is a good example of something you can do. Um, so under the web client, I will. By the way, the first time you run the web client, you'll get this splash screen. But I open Tour. Now it may just be taking a little bit. It has to actually open the audio files. That's one of the things that takes a fair amount of time. Um, yeah, so it looks like it's actually having some problems opening this tour for some reason. Um, um, yeah, so we'll have to work on that. But anyway, this gives you a kind of a flavor of what you need to do to get a tour to the data into a tour. For people who are familiar with the desktop client, this is very familiar. Everything here works as desktop client should. And we will be doing other video tutorials over the next month. The second Thursday of every month from now until the end of the year on different topics. And the next one we'll be discussing how to bring in orbital data that was used to create a really interesting visualization of the orbital or the place that we think that this new planet in the distant solar system called Planet 9 may exist. So we'll be doing that on October 13th. Anyway, thanks for joining, and we will see you later. Bye.